Laura.
Oh, hi everyone. This is another episode of New Portal TV, and it's Newport, and we're from Newport, Gwent in, I must remember, it's in Wales in the UK, not in Australia, well, not in Australia, but this is our new channel. The aim of it is to unite local entrepreneurs, and also we don't mind talking to people abroad. Even people, oh yes, I'm getting somebody from Australia to talk to us soon. I know it's going to be fun. And people from America as well, just to talk about people's views and beliefs, and you're just going to discuss these things, you know.
But it's voices in the communities, isn't it, Danielle? You know, there are so many voices out there.
Yeah, amazing. Each local area community, you know, they've got so much to give, and if we don't share, you know, that it's all lost, you know. So today,
just one of the things that strikes me is we're very caught up with celebrity in our lives these days, and actually nobody's better and nobody's worse than anybody else. You know, there is no hierarchy for human beings, and we're caught up in celebrity, and actually I think the person next door to you is as valuable to the planet as anybody that you see on the telly. So
that's you put it so nicely. You've just put it all together. It's just that we tend to celebrate celebrities. You know, we put them on a pedestal, but the people at the bottom, normal people, you know, and old people as well. They've got so much to give, and you know, it's all lost if we don't record it. And that's the aim that we're trying to, you know, work our way through, you know, get as many people on board, and maybe even have it other people setting up their own little community TV channel, you know, get everything online. So today what we have, I'm Danielle Sheehan. I'm originally from South London, because we had somebody yesterday and he said, oh, I'm from Peckham. And so, yeah, I'm from South London too. But I've been in Wales for many years now. So I'm Newport people. And then we have April Rogers, who's an artist and an astrologer, feng shui expert, artist, you name it. She's done it, and she's traveled. She's done.
Just say a mystic. That covers everything.
Yeah, she's traveled to 40 countries, but never been to but never been to Ireland. So that's a quiz question. And today we've got Ruth. I don't know how to pronounce Steggles. And she's I don't know. I had to ask you where you were born, because April was born in Newport, and so. But Ruth is a founding member of Fresh Air Fridays, which is becoming very, very an important business in around, especially Wales, but it's also, she's franchised it to other places. And so getting people to go out into the open countryside and walk and talk and develop themselves. So hi, Ruth. Thank you for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Oh, first of all, tell us where you were born.
Well, so I was born in Birmingham. Yes, there's sometimes a Birmingham accent if I'm rarely drunk these days, but apparently it comes out if I'm drunk.
Go on then. Give us a Birmingham accent. Give us. You know, how does that sound?
I'm from Birmingham, I do. So there's a little touch of it. But really interestingly, so we've been in Wales now 34 years-ish, so a long time. And I recently in the lockdown, I'd driven my daughter to Scotland, and I've always felt like an English woman in Wales, and the Welsh are really friendly people except the English. And as I drove back from during, you know, being in the pandemic, being in lockdown, we'd been to Scotland to move my daughter. And I came back into Wales, and it felt lovely, and it felt like coming home. And I just thought, Oh, I don't think I feel English anymore. I think it's taken 30 plus years, but I've been very, very blessed. Wales is so beautiful, lovely people, and yes, so I'm hoping I'm accepted these days, and I love living in South Wales.
So I've been here 30 years as well, and I always felt sort of, sort of stranger, but more and more I feel more as a Newport citizen, so that's good. It shows that we can adapt. But for a long time, my husband and myself were from London, and we felt quite like a foreigner, really. So for a long time. So go on then, tell us about, you were born in Birmingham, and what made you come to Newport? Is it Newport?
No, I live in Cardiff, so I'm down the road from you guys. So I fell in love before I went to university, and we met working in the same company, the other side of the country. And when I went to university in Bath, my husband couldn't afford a house on the East Coast, so he looked for a job somewhere in the Southwest, and he ended up with a job in Cardiff. And as they say, the rest is history. So I followed him once we graduated, and our children are born and bred here, and they consider themselves Welsh. So
I know, same here. My kids are born here. So we were talking about accents the other day, and they said, we don't know where we fit in. We're kind of half sort of English, and my husband is Irish, so it's like, where do you sit? So that's strange, interesting.
Both my parents were born in England, and I was born here in Newport.
And it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Where are you from? And I think all the conversations that are going on at the moment is who are you it has become more important. So where are you from? So there are things culturally that have us go, I bring these things with me because that's how my family brought me up, and who am I now as a person. And I think I've said I felt like a duck out of water being in Wales at times, and now it's just, let's just see one another irrespective of where we're from.
I think so. And we get to appreciate the Welsh countryside. We appreciate the, you feel kind of expanded here, don't you? So that's why your love of fresh air would have come in, isn't it? Being in Wales.
I mean, I don't know whether you want me to dive into that just yet, or whether you've got.
We just carry on. You just talk, just whatever comes.
So Fresh Fridays was kind of an accident, really. I was living my life, had a great business that was going really well. I was coaching within that business, had a big team of people. Life was really good. It was kind of. It was one of those moments that you kind of think, I'm living the dream. Kids were doing well at school, and we'd done the whole Florida thing as a family. It was all awesome. And then Easter morning, my daughter broke off a centimetre square of chocolate and ate it with relish. And then she declared she was full. And that was the moment my world fell apart. And we had 3 really challenging years where Catherine was really very, very ill. She refused to speak to any professionals. It was very, very taxing on us as a family. All the stuff I read about said people die of anorexia. There's this whole thing where...
Oh, I see. I didn't realize you were going to talk about that. Wonderful, yes. I mean, to talk and just to help other people.
So I mean, and the books I read by professionals at the time was, this is one of the mental health issues that people die of. So that was kind of the backdrop, and she wouldn't speak to anybody. And because of the journey I'd been on, because the self-development journey I'd been on, I had a belief that we can take responsibility for what happens to us in our lives. So I skilled up because as a mother, it didn't feel like an option to let my daughter die. It was kind of that simple. It was how sometimes I think when life's good, it's quite difficult to make decisions sometimes, but there are moments in your life it's easy to make the decision because it feels like there's no choice. So I skilled up and fell deeply into the mental health world. And what I learned in that time was the things that made a difference were simple. They weren't easy, but they were simple. And once Catherine had recovered, I just had this frustration that had been really, really hard for me to find those skills, to find out what it was I needed to do. So long story short, when I came out of it, I kind of went, people need to know how to look after themselves mentally and emotionally. People know how to look after themselves physically, whether or not they do it. That's, we could talk for hours about that also. But far fewer people know that there are things that you can do to look after yourself mentally and emotionally. I think having a belief, I think having spiritual views is really helpful. Being able to give yourself over to something greater than yourself is really helpful in that. But anyway, at that point, I just knew that I wanted to share what I had learned with more people. And so Fresh Air Fridays was my answer to that. And the outside bit came of it when Catherine and I looked at what it was we'd done. We noticed that all the useful conversations we'd had when she was really ill were outside when she was walking. And she would say to me, when I'm outside walking, the voices aren't there. I can hear myself think again. And that's what we provide for other people.
So going back to your daughter, she's okay now? And how old is she?
So she's just, sorry, I'm just turning the sound off on my phone, so that doesn't disturb us. So she's just graduated from university. She's got a degree in psychology. She's just literally started working in a supported home for people with severe mental health issues. So it's really weird now because grateful's the wrong, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. What we both recognize is that all we've been through together has made us who we are. So the path she's chosen is kind of a result of her experiences, and she's really well, really.
Can you go back to telling us what was the root of the problem? Would you be able to talk about that? What started it? Because she was 13 when it started.
So it was that lots of things. So I think, as with many as illness, whether it's physical or mental, my personal belief is that it's many things that create it. So I think all sorts of serious diagnoses are a combination of many things. So there were all sorts of things that Catherine, really harmless things in the saying of it. So throwaway comments that people had made over a period of time that just built up to an opinion about herself, I guess. And then she...
was she bullied at work? I'm sorry, at school? Or...
No, I don't think it was a big thing. I think very academic, very able. It's quite common for extremely able, that there is a pattern in extremely able girls to a streak of perfectionism doesn't really help any of us. When I work with really intelligent clients, being extremely good at something can be a downfall for people. So there was some of that. Throwaway comments, somebody telling her she wasn't very good at sport, the dental nurse saying, when she had her braces fitting, saying make sure nobody sees you with food in your teeth, that sort of throwaway comment. And then she started training, she started running, she became a really good runner, and her body shape was changing. She got quite a lot of compliments for that, the change there. And it just got a bit out of hand. So it wasn't a big thing. It wasn't a big thing. It was just a series of little things that built up in a personality that's potentially prone to it. Yeah, for some people there's an instance or there's a big thing, but I think it's not uncommon for it to be a series of little things. And probably at the time not having, now we've got a whole bunch of tools that she and I use that on a, near daily basis, and not having those tools, not knowing about.
What would these tools be? Maybe give us a couple of examples.
So, I mean, you've been on our sessions. So some key. So space is a really big thing. We live in a world now where people are on all the time. You move from one screen to another screen. You're constantly on. You're constantly in comparison. So if you're exposing yourself to the wider world, you're constantly in comparing yourself.
Facebook, especially, or Instagram, so okay.
People are on all the time, and they don't have off time, so they don't have nothing time. It's kind of a bit of a thing, isn't it? If you've got dead time, often people will be scrolling or watching the telly. There's no time to sit and breathe. So I think space and time is a really, really important one. I think there are other crucial practices, noticing what's working, what's not working. So a gratitude practice. So, there are lots of things on social media actually that talk about it these days, having a formal gratitude practice to notice, just to say thank you several times a day. I think for me, when far more people followed some sort of religion, these habits were built in. So let's say you went to church on a Sunday, so you stop for a moment and you reflect on last week, and you think a bit. There'll be a sermon, or your preacher will say something, and so you'll be thinking about how you can show up in the next week. You'll say some prayers, so you'll be grateful for stuff. You'll be part of a group of people, so you'll be part of something greater than yourself. So that stillness, that gratitude. And the other thing that we really, so some sort of, the other two skills that we use a lot in the work we do is meditation. Again, it's that stillness and that focus and that calming, and breathing. When people are really stressed, just to be aware that you breathe. If you've had your buttons pressed, just go, oh, I'm breathing. And then we teach some breathing techniques that are just helpful for people. Do the tiny little things? And then, of course, being outside in nature, that's the whole, you belong to something much greater than yourself. And for me, being in nature is a spiritual experience. If I need to be calm, if I need to, if I'm unresourced in any way. So this morning I started my day by going to the woods near me and paddling in the stream, and I'm there with ancient trees, and if ever I've got anything out of perspective, I can go to that space and know that I'm okay, that life continues, it's all right. So that's a whole toolbox of things that I believe if we can use those on a regular basis, we can stay mentally and emotionally well.
So, okay, so Ruth, so if somebody was to sign up for Fresh Air Fridays, can you tell them what to expect? What do you turn up at a place in nature, you all meet together, how many of you, how long does it last, that type of thing? Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting because prior to lockdown, I would have told you that we did absolutely everything outside, and all the sessions, everything we did outside. And then lockdown happened, and we kind of knew that in lockdown, people needed support even more than before. So we have responded to that. So to begin with, we immediately put in sessions online, and over the time we've honed that. So 7 times a week, we run live sessions where people can just come to the website. There's a Zoom link. So as we're using now, there's a Zoom link there. People can hop on and they're taken through a series of half an hour of space for them. There's some space, there's some breathing, there's some relaxation. And that's live because we know that people need connection. We know that people, I've got apps on my phone that I use all the time, but actually being there with other people live. So we do that 7 times a week, and that's free and always will be. So we'd really encourage people to come and try a breathing space. We call it breathing space. and we really encourage people to come and do that. So that's my number one way into seeing who we are and getting to know us. We do run community sessions, and you're right, we're now able to do those face to face. Thank you to this moment in time that we can get outside with people. So yeah, we meet at a space. We're now obviously following all the regulations, so we're keeping that safe space. There's some social distance in there, but basically we meet as a group, and we'll walk, and we'll use all the techniques I've talked about during that session, and we'll explore a different idea every time. So people get an opportunity to kind of just check out what is and isn't working in their lives. So it's a coaching approach. We listen to one another. People have a space to explore. And we now also do those sessions online. So we have an audio program that's going live. It's there in the background. We're waiting for our shop to go live on the website. But we have an audio program that people can buy, so they go out on their own. So for people who can't access one of our sessions, they go out on their own and they listen to the techniques, the tools. They have an exploration on their own, and they can just buy that bit of it. Or if they then choose, we also run that as a supported program, so people can then meet as a group online and discuss what happens.
Wow.
They're facilitated.
Which areas do you cover? Are you all over Wales, all over England, or I don't know how large?
No, absolutely. So physically, we've got about a dozen sessions running physically around the country. So we've got a couple in South Wales, maybe 3 or 4 at the moment. We've got a little hub in Hampshire, so there's a bit of a Hampshire thing going on, and up to I don't know my geography of that area very well. Reading Way, all around there.
Berkshire.
And yeah, Berkshire, thank you. And then we've got a little hub in the north that's launching. We've got somebody in Liverpool, and then we've got somebody near Preston, I think. So we've got a little, and somebody else who I can't remember where. All the details are on the website. I'm really embarrassed now.
No, that's okay. Tell us your website, Ruth. Tell us your website.
That's dead easy. So that's Fresh Air Fridays, plural. So there's an S on the end of Fridays.co.uk. So on the website, you can find all the sessions, both live and virtual. So there aren't thousands yet.
No, there will be. There will be soon. But your audio program, I mean, that's really a step forward, isn't it? So how much is that on average? Because people from abroad could buy that and do it. So you don't need to expand physically. With audio, that's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So the audio is £97. If you want to do it as a supported program, that's £397, and you can, there's payment options on that. But it's transformational. So one of the things that we've run this program now for a number of years. We work with individuals and organisations, and there are a couple of times I've gone back to organisations a couple of years after they've run the program, and I have people say to me, I still do all that stuff. I had somebody say to me the other day, she said, I've had a really hard year. A load of stuff's happened to me, and if I didn't have the skills that I learned, I don't know how I'd have coped. And for me, that's like, oh my goodness, that handful of people saying that kind of stuff goes,
well done, Ruth. That's fabulous.
Well, no, I mean, what you're doing, it's a real contribution. And as we know, during this lockdown, so many people are hyped up, are stressed, or, just like, you can't wait, for things to open. But if you have the toolbox, you could help yourself. And also young kids and like you said, people who are, young kids who are anorexic, there's a space for them, there's a program for them. I
think there's a real key here. Pain is inevitable, but suffering isn't. So it's absolutely going to rain in your life at some point, without a doubt. You're going to have some stuff. How you deal with that will depend on how resourced you are. there is no need to suffer.
No, that's it.
I can't protect you from the pain, but I can protect you from the suffering.
No, but there's so many things we can do that we are born with, like breathing. We're born with that, but we don't really know how to utilize this tool. And we are born with the fingertips, and just by being in that moment, you can actually be stable, and there's so many exercises, but you're not taught them at school, are you? You're not taught them anywhere. But we've only got a few minutes left. It's gone very quickly. Tell us about your spiritual journey. I know you talked about your daughter.
Interesting. So yeah, it's been a long one, really. I was brought up in Church of England, and when the whole in my youth, Billy Graham came.
Oh gosh,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I was there, and it was really meaningful to me. And then I met an atheist.
Oh.
And fell in love with him and married him.
Oh,
no. that was really, really interesting. And so I guess I moved away from a faith for a long time, and then kind of started on a self-development journey. So I think it was my self-development journey that really took me back to something larger than I was. Everything for me points to something greater than any of us as an individual. And I don't really know what it looks like for me, except I experience it and I feel it. And my father, when he died, he gave me a real gift. So he'd waited till we'd all gathered around his bedside, and he stopped breathing for a moment. And then, I don't know, a couple of seconds later, he took another breath, and then he stopped breathing again. And in that second time he stopped breathing, I saw something leave his body, and I couldn't tell you what it was I saw. To say it was a shimmering light, or it kind of makes it too real. And it was an experience, and it was a vision, and so I don't know what it was, but in that moment I knew he was spirit. And that's really, that was 20 years ago now. And so I have that connection. I experience it. I feel it. I can feel, when I focus on my hands, I can feel the vibrations, and I know there's something larger than me. I don't know what to call it. I don't need to. It's with me. I'm part of it. I'm part of you. We're connected. That's where I am, and that's my experience. And whatever anybody else's experience is, that's fine too. So that's that's where I am on my journey. There's always more.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So the more people we can get to feel this energy, I think that's the step forward for all of us, isn't it? That that the more we talk about it, and not just to make it like you're born again, you're going to be the people going to heaven, or you're Muslim, and and so on. But
there's no segregation in it.
It's just easy. That energy is everywhere. It's the energy we breathe, isn't it? It doesn't say, well, just because you're a criminal you can't breathe. It's just like
it's that collective. Until we accept one another, and we see that collective, and we see that connection, that's what's going to heal the world. It's that collection of the human spirit. To my view, if we can just love one another, if we can just be kind, if we can connect that energy, I'm really hopeful. If there are enough people that get aligned in the right kind of energy, kindness, love.
But we are, Ruth. We are. It's just like we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So one book quickly. One book that changed your life.
Say a book. Yeah. Which book?
Oh, too many. Pema Chodron has been really meaningful to me. I'm reading.
Say that again, Ruth. Say that again.
Pema Chodron. I can't even think what the title is. It's on the floor in my bathroom because I pop into it regularly. I'm currently reading Deepak Chopra's 7 Spiritual Laws. That's really helpful. He's got some great practices.
Yeah.
Monk, big on my journey earlier on, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Oh, yes, I bought that for my son recently. I bought it. I'm sure I've got it somewhere on my bookcase, but I couldn't find it, so I bought it again on eBay. And
the thing with books is they have to speak to you at the right moment. They have to come at the right. Course in Miracles has been amazing, and it changes as time goes by, and the more confident I get, the more I read for joy rather than looking outside of myself for the thing.
That is amazing. What was your degree in?
Oh, you'll never guess. I have a degree in mechanical engineering.
Oh my God. And your husband, what does he do?
He's an electronics engineer, so we met because we were both engineers. That's how we met. So that was obviously why I did an engineering degree, because I used it for about 6 months before I went on a different.
So you can fix things, can you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm a people person. It's a complete anomaly. I have mild dyslexia, and so it was easier. So I was better at the more scientific stuff. I had to write less, but I can obviously speak quite a lot.
So I know you've been, telling your own experiences and so on, and that what you find that, once we all get together and we connected, the world will change. So any advice you could give to us as how we can do this?
Yeah, it starts with us. It starts with us as individuals, and it starts with kindness to us. So I think kindness to ourselves, that's
a really good point. That is so good, isn't it? And also you talked about perfection. I always say to people, God was never perfect. If he was perfect, he would have made us so, so he's not perfect, or she's not perfect, but a lot of us, we seek perfection.
Kindness. I mean, kindness to myself and acceptance. And you can't, I want to be purposeful in my life. I want to make a difference. But if I don't get it right for me first, I don't have the resources to not make it right for somebody else, because we don't do that. But if I'm not resourced, then I can't support other people. So following my joy, being kind to myself, following my joy, accepting all that I am and all that I'm not, because I can't be everything.
No, because only God can do that. No, we can't be.
Well, I think we might have to round up now, ladies. It's
okay.
Less than a minute.
Less than a minute.
Sorry, I can talk.
We know your website and so on, and well, thank you for joining us. It's been really wonderful.